All right, guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce, and here with the last segment of our show today. And very excited to have joining us on Skype Derek Bhanga. Karibu sana to the show, Derek. How you doing? I'm well, thank you. Let's get his volume up for me kindly, but I did believe he asked me how I'm doing. Hopefully you can hear me just fine.
I can hear you loud and clear.
There you go. Now I can hear you as well. Asante sana for making the time to join us this morning.
Thank
How's
you.
how's
I'm delighted to be
quarantine?
here.
How's quarantine and self-isolation taking you?
You know what? Surprisingly, I am thriving rather than surviving. And I suppose
Wow.
that's what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. Well done. We need all those secrets because today here on the show, we're going to be talking about working from home versus working from the office. And let's just be honest, guys, a lot of you are saying that you're really struggling with this, right? The temptations are too many. The children are there. The TV is right there. It feels like it's tea time the whole day long. So, Derek, polls are revealing that 81% of staff in Kenya feel that working from home is unproductive. About 8 in 10 Kenyans believe that it's ineffective even as employees increasingly work from home. What is going on? What's the truth about it? What is making this so ineffective for so many people?
Uh, First, I read that study. It was in the Business Daily last week. 81% of Kenyans feel unproductive working from home.
Yeah.
There are numerous challenges working from home. People are distracted. I think that's number one. Trying to stay motivated is what's going on. Communicating remotely with your teams, with your bosses, with your colleagues is a problem. Some people are experiencing loneliness.
Yeah.
And the whole fact that we have to self-isolate, this business of unplugging is also a problem. So
Sure.
there are a number of issues that are going on why people feel that they're unproductive,
Yeah.
particularly when working from home.
Right. And talking about those distractions, just I guess to name a few of them, children must, of course, be a big one because they're home as well. But what are some of the other main distractions that really stand out to you?
Well, I think it's identifying, for example, the boundaries that you have. So, for example, I'm sitting here. This is my area for work. Trying to manage this area that I'm using for work without obviously other people in the house coming and sort of distracting me.
Yeah.
You mentioned the children, that's for sure. There are also outside distractions. It could be the neighbor's dog barking. It could be, it's a person coming from Jumia to make a delivery.
Yeah.
So attention management, I think, is one of the key things that we need to focus on and how to gain that attention management.
How then do we do that? Do you have any sort of tips or tools of the trade that would help one be able to really guard their attention so that they can be productive at home?
Yeah, so as I sort of alluded to earlier, creating these boundaries, identifying the boundaries that you can control, physical boundaries, or even the boundaries in terms of this is my work time, and so for the next 2 hours, please take the kids to the next room if you have a partner or somebody in the house. So whatever that you can control, identify those boundaries, identify those things that are creating this sort of lack of attention management,
Okay.
and then begin to be proactive or intentional in terms of managing them.
Right.
Creating systems, creating goals. For example, writing down what you want to achieve and using this as motivation to create a focus
Yeah.
short term and say in the next 2 hours, this is what I want to achieve. And so that you're able to zero down, lock out the distractions, and then you have that quick win to celebrate.
Okay. What about the psychological well-being? Because part of the challenge, I think, is we are in a work culture where we're so used to having people around us. And maybe this is even beyond the psychological, it's also just the social. And I think one of the biggest challenges now is previously you'd have a boss or a supervisor who was literally standing over your shoulder, watching what you're doing. Before you leave, they've asked you for that report. And now it's a little harder to gauge whether one is spending their time as they should be. So how, once people figure out their attention spans and keep that in check, how can they set in place systems that allow them to be productive at home?
Well, you talk about psychological well-being, and this is something that I talk about a lot through an organization that I work with called Genos. We talk about managing our emotional intelligence, and particularly at this time is boosting our self-awareness, our understanding of what's happening at the moment. You know, all of these emotions that we feel, whether they're strong emotions, negative emotions, or positive emotions, are just data.
Yeah.
What we need to do is recognize that what is important, particularly during this sort of crisis environment, is to pay a little bit more attention to how we're feeling and then begin to act perhaps a little bit more intentionally. So notice the emotion, the feeling of anxiousness, worry, doubt, uncertainty, and then rather than letting that emotion sort of take control of us, we begin to intentionally act to overcome or be able to turn that negative emotion into something that's going to be a little bit more powerful. And, you know, one of the practical ways that you can do that, for example, is actually writing down the emotion that you feel. So every time I feel anxious or I feel stressed, write that down. Why am I feeling this way? What do I want to feel?
Yeah.
And what can I do to achieve that?
Right.
All of these emotions, we're going to make decisions. We want to make intentional, positive decisions that are going to help us in the long term with our performance.
Yeah, very, very important. And still on that note about our psychology, the other thing is that there's just a lot of pressure right now. Pressure to perform, pressure to excel. We're hearing about how, you know, this is really going to separate the wheat and the chaff thereafter, you know, post-COVID-19. And so as much as it's working from home, an environment that has previously been very comfortable, now it's a lot of stress, and perhaps I don't know if there are unrealistic expectations too from employers as far as how much one can do from home, you know, while working from home. It almost seems like a lot of people are complaining about their workload having doubled in some cases.
First, you tapped into something very important. That pressure to perform, particularly for those of us who are in a new environment, working from home, leading our teams remotely. You know what? We need to have a little bit more compassion. And that compassion starts with ourselves. Give ourselves a break. All of these things that we're feeling, it is okay to feel that. Everybody across the entire globe is feeling these things. What we need to then begin doing is perhaps experiment with different ways of working. And the goal is to identify which, particularly those activities or strategies that are going to work for you. You know, it could be anything. You mentioned the kids, for example. If you have a partner in the house, maybe experiment with having shifts so that I can work 2 hours and then I'll take time to, you know, to deal with the kids as they're also learning from home. Or having a conversation with your boss and saying, listen, this is a situation I find myself in. And I think this sort of compassion as well as empathy for the other is what is going to keep us keep our heads above water during these peculiar times.
Right. One of the conversations, or the pointers through the conversations we've been having about this whole working from home situation, is that it's becoming a lot more about value and the relevance that we're bringing to our organizations. Do you agree that that is sort of the direction in which we are moving? And more so, should we expect this to sort of influence or inform a sort of new working environment for us moving forward post-COVID-19?
I think this is going to be the new normal. Everybody is saying that. All of the experts around the world are saying that companies are now realizing that they're going to completely have to reevaluate some of these business models, particularly when it comes to managing their staff, the human resource, particularly this new normal of working from home. So this is something that's going to, all companies are going to have to factor this in as they lay out their long-term business strategies and their goals.
And especially because I think now they've discovered, oh, it's possible to get, you know, work done when people are not in a physical office, when we're not having to pay overheads and electricity and whatnot. And so what do you think are the qualities that really stand out for those who will succeed and do well in this time as far as working from home? Proactiveness, for example, seems to be a big one.
Yeah, developing these proactive strategies, as you rightly say. I talk about certain things that you can do physically, and I've talked about creating boundaries physically, maintaining exercise, the right food that you eat, reduce the amount of caffeine, alcohol, all of those things. There's also relationship strategies. Now is the time to sort of work on these relationships, not just with the people who are in the house with you, but your relationship with your team members, relationship with your boss or your manager. So working a little bit on this, and when I say working on it, it's being a little bit more intentional. I'll just give an example. Somebody you call up, if you're a team leader, and you call up your team member or through a Zoom conference or whatever it might be, and you ask them how they're doing, and they say fine. But what does it mean when they say they're fine? How about going in a little further? So you're fine. What is working for you? What are the positive things that have happened to you, for example, this week?
Right.
I think we have to start looking, particularly in a business environment, as our customers, our suppliers, our team members, not as a KPI.
Yeah.
But really the humanity in them.
Right.
This is what is going to sustain us in the long run, and I believe this is going to be how things are going to be from now on.
Right. And it's about bringing back the human into human resources, isn't it? All of this, though, then is calling for a lot of vulnerability from both the employees, but also from the employer. And I don't think we can have this discussion without also considering the men in our lives who for so long have really struggled with that pointer of vulnerability. And now when we're combating that with pressure to, just keep the job that you have, and there's all these different expectations. I really want to just give you a few moments here to just speak out to the men specifically that are watching this show.
Well, speaking to the men, what I'd say first of all is find out what's important in your life. You're now at home, for most of us. You're in the house. Develop those relationships with your partner, develop those relationships with your children, particularly if you're one of those people who has focused a lot more on work. Begin to identify your triggers in terms of how you're feeling, those pleasant and maybe not so pleasant emotions. And then actively seek and pursue activities that will generate positive emotions, not just in yourself, but in other people as well.
Right.
Okay, so I think some of these sort of proactive, particularly emotionally intelligent strategies are what most of us need to start practicing.
Okay. And I think related to that, talk to us about this term soft skills. We're hearing a lot about soft skills and how we need to establish and, build our soft skills. And prior to that, honestly, most of us never really understood or knew anything about soft skills. So maybe you'd explain that to us and why it suddenly matters so much.
You call them soft skills, Joyce. I call them fundamental skills because soft skills have now become the hard skills that you need.
Yeah.
We're quickly discovering it's not just about our technical competence. It's not just about our academic qualifications.
Right.
It's the intangible, the relationships that we've been talking about. Being able to achieve focus. Recognize that, for example, task switching is cognitive draining. Managing our psychological well-being. Now more than ever, we need to start doubling down on developing these interpersonal skills, let's call them that.
Right. And a big part of the interpersonal skills, because as you're saying, a lot of our jobs have been very focused on the technical. If you have the right paperwork, then you get in. If you have the right level of experience, then you get in. But now you're talking about these interpersonal skills. But the reality is not everybody is outgoing. Not everybody is an extrovert. A lot of people in this country suffer from shyness just because our systems have never really taught us how to speak out and how to air our own opinions effectively. How can someone in that space who's really struggled with their self-confidence, really struggled with just trusting their own ideas, begin to step out so that they can fully embrace this new world order that we're in?
I think it begins with communication. listening, applying focus to conversations. Now, listen, if you have the sort of personality, you're a wallflower, you're not that outgoing, I think this is the time, particularly if you're in a situation where you have some time on your hands, to begin working on developing these skills. Because in this quote-unquote new world order, this type of communication is now going to be the norm.
Yeah.
Start practicing with how you open conversations. I just gave a tip, somebody says, fine. Just begin to drill down a little bit further.
Yeah.
Encouraging positive feedback in other people, particularly if you're dealing with somebody who might be a little shy or not good in expressing themselves. Approach each dialogue with a goal of something to learn. I think of the person who's on the other side as someone who can teach you. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we need to use them in that proportion.
Wow, very well said, Derek. And I really want to thank you for these insights that you've shared with us this morning. Certainly a lot of different challenges coming our way, as we continue to carry through and power through this season. But at the same time, it also sounds that it is a lot of opportunity as well for us to really improve ourselves and become stronger individuals, not just in our homes, but even in our careers and the works that we do. So I really want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your company this morning and for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you, Joyce.
All right.
Stay safe.
You too. You too. All right, guys, that there was Derek Bhanga online with us through Skype, as we've been talking about working from home versus working from the office. And I hope that you guys have picked up a few things there and learned a couple things from him this morning. As we wrap up, I do want to share some final feedback with you guys. Here we have, hey Joyce, nice show there. Aki, working from home is really hard. I just remember doing homework at home was really a headache to some of us. So imagine working there. Oh gosh, I hope this corona ends soon. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Haggai Nelson here says, good morning, Joyce. Enjoying the show. Keep up the good work you're doing and rendering for us. May the good Lord keep you shining. Asante sana for that. And even on our parenting discussion that we heard earlier about homeschooling, someone here says, I'm not a parent yet, but the struggle is real with kids at home. My aunt is training to be a teacher now because she has 3 kids and all of them have started school. The conversation was amazing. That's Carol from Juja. Another here says, hey Joyce, loving the topic. I've had to form a whole new routine in my house. We now have a study time and a study room and divide lessons with my husband on who does what. That sounds like a great strategy you have going on there. And mwingine hapo anasema tu ati on the topic of homeschooling, I think parents should hire a teacher for tuition in their estates, because some parents, they just can't handle it, or they're not literate enough to understand the topic. But social distancing, tena ndio hiyo. I don't know if you want, someone coming into your home. So, a challenge for us to try and stretch ourselves, as we were told. But finally here, someone says, my daughter at 11 months wakes up at 8 a.m. sharp, and she's a full circle lady. I wish you could see her. Your show is great. That's Edna from Nairobi. How sweet. Thank you so much for that. Do give her a big hug for me. And with that said, guys, we're going to wrap up this show today. Asanteni sana for all of your company and for engaging with me from 8 a.m. since 8 a.m. this morning. Let's meet here again tomorrow, as God wills, as we wrap up the week in style. Of course, we'll be bringing you some fun entertainment as well. With that said, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Ciao.